So I gotta be honest, I haven't gotten hit by the Porsche bug throughout 44 years of being alive. I grew up as a blue collar guy and we were into Chevrolets in my neighborhood, right? My second car was a 1970 Chevelle. I've got a 2022 C8 here. This is right up my alley. And I'm getting a bit more sophisticated despite my appearance. And I started getting into cars that were sort of march to their own beat. Just cars that are not very demanded by the popular car enthusiast. So you've seen a couple of my other videos on, you know, an old station wagon and a 67 Saab, and I'm a big VW bus guy, and then they got very popular, so I lost a little bit of interest, but I still love them. But anyway, what attracted me to the 912 was this is the black sheep of the Porsche family. So I'm gonna do a very quick, like, sort of drive through it so you guys can get a feel for what it looks like when you're rolling down the road. We're gonna stop around a beautiful spot of Lake Norman, North Carolina, and I'm gonna do a real quick walk around, tell you what I did to the car, give you some history, tell you a couple things about the car that you might not be aware of, about especially the 69. And then at the very last, we'll throw in a couple little quick clips of how pretty she looks on the road, and we'll call it a wrap. Okay, so let's rock and roll. So a couple side notes, you got a little spot here where you can put some paperwork or something that you need in there. Got another spot here that hides the speaker, and then the doors have these open compartments where you can put all of your important stuff. This is the door handle that I've already replaced once and it's breaking again. So make sure that you buy only OEM parts, because this aftermarket stuff is just exhausting. Those are rivets to get in there. It's not a fun project. That's someone's dog. Look at that beautiful dog. Hey, buddy. Anyway, we have also in the dashboard, it's pretty simple. You got your fuel. It'll put a red light up here when you get too low or if you're taking a corner fast. You got your temperature, and then this light here is if your generator goes bad, it'll actually show you that your voltage regulator is weak. Obviously your RPMs, your speedometer, and my clock. And I know so many guys take so much pride when the analog clock still works. I'm one of those guys. And mine only works twice a day. It's 12:22. So, well, I'm not gonna go through that hassle. Heat and regular vent, no air conditioning, original radio in the car. My cigarette lighter doesn't work. And then you also have a glove box here. Perfect fit for the ashtray, and the iPhone mini stays in there just right. One of the things I love about the dog leg transmission, just think about it. This car was built in 1969, and the German engineering really was always ahead of its time. So you have a 5-speed transmission in 1969, really cool. And what they realize is that most of your driving is between your second speed and your third gear, your second gear and your third gear. So all day long, you're doing this, and that's the easiest transfer front to back than it is finding another gear. So every, Chevrolet I ever grew up as 1, 2, 3, 4 on the column. This is so nice because I'm barely ever in first, which is like really down low. And then as soon as I get out of first, I'm spending all my time driving in second and then in third. So like right here, if I want to downshift and save the brakes, back to second, but just going up and down, which is really cool. One thing I love about this car is that you use all the power all the time. you know, the 911s were really expensive, so they wanted a working man's car out there, so they put out the 912, and you go from 120 horsepower to about 90 horsepower with the 1600. This has got a big bore kit in it, which I'll show you the motor when we do the walkthrough. So it's about a 1720. I'm probably pushing almost 100 horsepower. And the difference between that 20 horsepower is so minimal for the way that this car handles, especially the long wheelbase, which is 1969. So I just absolutely love it. One of the things that is so nice when you're in a period correct car is it doesn't have any of the modern like sensors. Like if you're at a Taco Bell in my wife's Porsche Macan, I still don't know what's the right way that you say that, but when you're in that car, which I love that SUV, you know, I mean, the sensors are going off on that Taco Bell trying to eat a taco, right? And by the way, I also wouldn't go to Taco Bell until they reintroduced the Mexican pizza, but that's just a side note. I don't want to digress. But anyway, you have all of these constant reminders that are making you reactionary. And in this car, you're in control. None of that other stuff, just pure, clean, simple, you know, mechanical fun. I just absolutely love this car. The other thing about this car that I like is I live in North Carolina, and we've got the Blue Ridge Mountains that are in a short drive away from here. And this car handles, 53 years old, this car handles almost as well as my 22 C8 Corvette with all of the technology. I mean, I can hug corners, I can tear out the back end, never gets real sloppy or out of space. I mean, it just kind of ties in. I know on Renlist and a lot of these big Porsche of America threads, I've gotten a lot of information from these old Porsche guys, and they are great. I am thankful for them. But a lot of the comments when you get into wheels and lowering is sort of like, you know, don't mess with stock. You know, this is the right way for us, and you're going to lose the handling of these cars. And honestly, that's just not been my experience. The other thing that I think is a real key feature for this car is the cost of it. So, I mean, I'm an old VW bus guy. I mean, to rebuild this motor is $6,000 or $7,000. To put a 911 motor is probably $20,000 for what, 20-30 horsepower. I mean, I really maybe I'm a bit of a purist, even though I like to modify my cars a little bit, but I think this is the way to go for a lot of people, especially for the price point. So the good thing about an outlaw is that you can break some of the rules, and the second thing about a driver is that I can have fun all the time. The weather sucks today, it rained. I drive this car probably 4 or 5 times a week. Okay, so, you know, no garage queens. This is a really, this car gets all the exercise it wants. So let's just start off. There's a few modifications that I made, but I didn't want to touch anything that was irreversible. So these are just the stock Steelies that I did plastic dip on there, just to get a sense if I would like the way that the color looks with the chrome hubcap. These are all stock wheels. I don't have any spacers, and I don't have the remanufactured 6-inch or 7-inch version of this. So the way that this car sits and it's lowered kind of works for me specifically. Another thing about this car that I love is I love these little back vented windows. I think the car looks so much nicer when those are open. It's got a really nice feel inside. All the doors are nice and heavy. When you shut, they have kind of a note to them, like a ping, right? I mean, I'm not a pianist, but it's like a perfect little tone to it. When you walk around, this side of the car is the friendliest, right? Because I have the least amount of nicks that have been touched up. But when you walk around the front of the car, you know, this is a big area where guys start modifying, and they put the trim that's thinner and narrow around the fronts. I like both on there. I just haven't gotten to it. Man, you gotta love it. You gotta love German stuff. I don't know what took me so long to get sober on this brand, but it's got a little nice bib for the gas cap. Everything's on the left side because that's where the driver's at. Really cool stuff. I mean, even, you know, all Porsches, you turn the key on from the left side of the steering wheel, which is the time saver if you're in a crunch. I replaced this side view mirror. All the chrome and trim on this car are all stock. You can see some of the paint's been burned through because people don't know how to use buffers. But the guy I bought this car from is not one of those guys. He was a Porsche mechanic in California, a really nice guy named Craig. Sold me the car sight unseen, but I felt good about his shop and about who he was and how he was representing the car. He's like, look, the car's far from good on paint, but it's rust free and it's solid as a rock. And I went through the entire motor, and this car I drive all the time. So it was a good candidate for me because I like cars that I don't have to worry about. I actually fall in love with those better than the ones that are perfect. Then they get a nick or a ding or a dent and I start contemplating selling them. I don't have time for therapy, so you can comment below how I can move on past that. But what I love about this car is the way that he had taken care of it. When you pull up the trunk lid, or the engine lid, this is what we're working with. So again, he did the big bore kit, but it's super clean. I mean, it's not literally clean, but it's super clean. And this car runs out really strong. This car's never been damaged or in a car accident. All the seams are about the same. The paint I have spent a lot of time on. I'm not a paint guy. I always watch that channel on YouTube, I Am Detailing, and it makes me feel so about myself. But with so much of the paint burned through and so much handmade touch-ups, all I could do is really get all the dings out, polish it, and keep it patina. And I actually like the way that it looks. These are a little wiggly, but I mean, I just love the back of this car, the way the car sits. It's unbelievable. This is actually probably my now second favorite color. I still like the Bahama yellow quite a bit, but I actually like this color now. The 1969 was the only year where they extended the car. You can see the amount of space right here shows that it's a 69. They did the longer wheelbase, which actually improved the balance and suspension feel of the car. The engineering of this car, the 69 to me is the only year that has the long wheelbase and it's the best driving one. I tried a 67 and a 66 before I bought this car, and I didn't know any better, and they drove great. And then I got this car and it drives better, so I attribute it to the design of that. So that's my 912. That's my attempt at 912 Outlaw without doing anything reversible. You can jack the car back up, you can peel the plastic off it, and you're right back home. But for me, this is the way that I'm more comfortable driving it. So thanks for checking out the 912, and go buy one. Peace out. Oh, by the way, please don't leave nasty comments under the video because I'm very sensitive. And don't forget to subscribe.